Hello, folks. Welcome to the Manly Show. I'm Jeff Sieh, and you're not. We've got a great show planned for you today. We have one of my favorite people on the internets here with us. But first of all, I'd like to introduce my always awesome panel. First of all, I'd like to start with Mr. Mike Allton. Mike, how are you doing today?
Great, Jeff. Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? Happy to be here with these wonderful guys. Doing a great job today.
Hey, Mike, tell us where we can find you. And also, I know you have a pretty cool announcement. Your book was just published.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm at the Social Media Hat, and just this week released my first book, the unofficial book on Hootsuite.
Awesome, awesome. All right, next in line we have Stephan. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm great, buddy. How are you, Jeff? How are you, Jeff's beard? And how are you, Mike and Wade and Peg? I got to do a little spiel, right? So I've also written a couple books, a whole Google Plus Pro Tips Guide, but I'm all about Google Plus in business and do some stuff with the web, like websites and email marketing. And you can find me mostly here on Google Plus. That's the safest bet for you. Always happy to be here, and especially with one of my favorite people as well, Peg. How are you?
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome.
Is Jeff letting me talk? Okay, I'm good.
No, I've got to introduce Wade first. Not yet.
I know. I'm
Wade,
kidding.
the guy who's very, very far away. Wade,
Far away.
yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where we can find you, all that stuff.
Hey, Jeff. I'm here on Google Plus all day long, every day. You can find me at wadeharman.com, and I haven't wrote a book yet.
And I'm Jeff Sieh from
No,
His
but
Design.
you did. I wrote the foreword for your book.
That was not about social media, though, was it? Was it? You know, I forgot about that book.
And the book wasn't very good.
And the book must have not been very good. Nobody remembered it. Not even
No,
me.
but before we go on, I want to introduce, like Stephan said, one of my favorite people on Google Plus and all the social networks, Miss Peg Fitzpatrick, who's graced us with her presence, and I'm so happy to have her here. Thank you, Peg, for being here with us today.
You're welcome. How could it be a manly show without me? I am the manliest. Come on.
That's right, you are. Well, to kick things off, you are now head of social strategy at Canva. So I want to know, what exactly does the head of social strategy do?
That is a question I keep hearing. It's confusing to people. So when you manage social media for a brand, the first thing that you have to do is assess what needs to be done. So my analogy for that is using The Princess Bride, which I love, and there's a scene where they're going to storm the castle, and they're like, I need to know all the things I need, what are our assets? And he lists all the stuff off, and then he's like, if only we had the Holocaust cloth. Oh, I have one, and he pulls it out. So that's me. Like, I want to know all the assets that I have. So I kind of line up all my defenses, like if you have your little army guys, and I get like, I have Google Plus, I have Facebook, I have Pinterest, I get all the things that I have. Then I pick the tools that I want to use. Then I figure out what my strategy is, which is what do I want to do with my social media. Because if you don't have a strategy, there's really no point in doing social media. Unless you're just doing it for yourself and you just want to tweet and you like that, which amen to you, because there's lots of people who just, like social media for the social aspect of it. But it is my job, it is my career. So what I do is I strategize what I want to do for Canva. So my job is to get the word out about Canva through social media, through our blog, get blog traffic, have great content on our blog. So we're using content marketing in our social presence, and then I have the pretty face Guy Kawasaki out being my evangelist. He's my pretty face. And he of course has amazing connections. So, and then Canva itself, to me, sells itself anyway because it's an amazing company and it's an amazing product, which I know all of you guys have tried it and use it, so you know what I'm talking about. Canva just makes a social media manager's life heaven because you can make really, really professional things. And for bloggers who can't afford to hire designers to make an image for each blog post that you need on social media, you can make really great things. So
Awesome.
That's what a head of social strategy does.
So how many people are at Canva? I mean, do you manage like a team inside of Canva? Is that how it works?
I do not manage a team. I do almost everything myself at this point. We do have somebody that does PR too. So because we're a startup, everybody does a lot of different things at this point. We're not huge. We're not Google yet.
Right.
So at this point, we all wear a lot of hats. So I am head of social strategy, which traditionally in a larger company I would have a team of people. I don't have a team of people, but I work highly efficiently. And I do have designers that I work with that help me with some things. And then I have an intern starting today. So.
Oh, very, very cool. Well,
Yeah.
today's show is titled "Image is Everything," and everybody, it's kind of the buzzword talking about right now is that you've got to make your images better. The web is moving all to visual marketing, video, great images. So how does somebody who, let's say, has been in social media for a while, what is the next step for them? Do they really just, because I know there's some panic, like I've got to get my images, I've got to do videos better. I know there's some panic going on that way. What are some baby steps people can do to make kind of their social media strategy go to the next level?
Okay, so depending on where you are and what you're doing, that's a really broad question, so I'm going to have to answer it generally speaking. So
Sure.
You don't want to try, if you're a person who only has a limited amount of time, don't try to do every social media platform. Pick what you can do the best on and be really great there. Don't try, people are intimidated because I'm on like all the social media platforms. But if you can't manage all the social media platforms, don't do them all. Don't do, a little bit of this poorly and a little bit of this poorly. It would be really better to have 2 really great social media presences than 5 or 6 really bad ones. That being said, don't look at my Tumblr account.
Right.
That would be an example of where I never ever go. Tumblr people, I'm sorry. So I would, number one, make sure that you're using the proper size images for the proper social network. That's one of the keys that if you do them incorrectly, if you're using the wrong sizes, it's kind of, I don't want to say a waste of time, but they just don't look right. And Facebook just recently changed their newsfeed size from square, which it was for quite a long time, to now it's 940 by 788 pixels. So that's like a kind of funny shaped rectangle, and that's what goes in their newsfeed perfectly and mobile perfectly. The key is that you have to test your stuff on different platforms, which I don't know if everybody does, but is really important. I just saw this week that Facebook is now stretching images. If you put something that's too small on mobile, they're stretching it on the iPad and the phone. So, if it's your most important brand post of the week and you put an image that's like, it just looks like you don't know what you're doing. But when you're looking at that on desktop, it could look perfect. So it's tricky. So test everything that you do. Make sure that it looks good on your phone and on your tablet or your iPad, not just on desktop. That's one thing that can help. And then look up and find. Actually, I can put it in the show comments, but there's, the perfect sizes do count, and I'll put the dimensions in there instead of just saying them and then people trying to take it down. But the perfect size for things really, really matters.
Good. Well, so what I'm hearing for you is, to make sure you test everything, and also make sure you have the proper size. And I know you were there's a slide share right now from HubSpot that you were in yesterday that has those dimensions in it. So we'll make sure we put that link in the comments as well, because there's some really good slides in that presentation. So, Mike, I know you had some questions for Peg. You want to shoot your first one?
Yeah, I was hoping we could dig into Canva for just a little bit.
Sure.
A little less general imagery, more specific Canva. What would be a couple of your tips, for somebody who's not a graphic designer, but they want to make some graphics for their social media posts or their blog posts? What would be your top 2 or 3 tips specific to Canva?
Okay, so the first thing is we have amazing tutorials on YouTube and on the site, and a lot of people just don't find them, and one of the things I'm working on is optimizing those so people can find them more easily. Sign up for our email newsletter, because every week we send out a new little design tips, and it shows you exactly how to do it in Canva. And I love those. I wait for them. It's like drop everything, my Canva tutorials here, and it teaches you things about fonts and colors and texts and all the different little things, but how to use them specifically in Canva. So using the tutorials helps a lot, just learning, because I'm not a graphic designer either, and I have Photoshop, but I'm not good at it. So this helps me, but one of the best tips is that there's little lines that center things for you. So when you're moving text in, you'll get little dotted lines that'll show you exactly if you have it centered. How awesome is that? Because if you're eyeballing it, it looks okay, and then you post it on Google Plus and you're like, that is not centered, and then people start +1ing it and you're like, now I can't take it down. So watch the little lines to center things. And then my other best tip is we have templates. Play with the templates, but then customize them to make them your own. So I think everybody, when they get started on Canva, tries the templates out, and I still use them, but I remix them so much that you can barely tell it's the template anymore. I switch colors, I switch, I am not great with font pairing, so that is one thing that I don't mess around with a lot, because font pairings, if you use the wrong fonts, that can really ruin your design. That's I think where you can tell when people are kind of playing with things that maybe they haven't maybe done enough tutorials yet. You really don't want like 5 different fonts, and you want to make sure it's readable. So so use the templates, but then customize it. That's it's fine to use them, and it's great if you want to use them straight up, but make sure you put your watermark on them, and change the colors and everything. Play around with it and just get used to it. The more you make designs in Canva, the better you get.
Could we have a link to those tutorials?
Sure. I'll put. We have tons and tons of them. I'll put them in there too.
Yeah, and I can completely vouch for that. And that's one of the first things that I did when I first started using Canva, because I don't have any design skill at all. Those tutorials, yeah, they really helped me understand not only how to use the tool, but it gave me, some, what little Canva could do for me in terms of being able. And
if anyone has ideas for tutorials that they would like, I'll take special requests. Put them down in the comments, and we'd be happy to make you. I love asking people like all the time, like, what you have an idea for, like, people say I have a question about something. I'm like, sure, I'll do special requests for my blog. Sure, I'll write tutorials on how to do something. Why not? Right? One person will like it.
Well, I think you were saying before that I struggle with the fonts as well, and so what I'll do is I'll take a template and then I'll take one from another template and pop it in there to make it look different, but I'll still kind of, and then you can play around with it. But that's one thing I would really like to see for me on Canva is more of those text blocks. They have where you can get the text and drop them there. I like to have as many options as I could. So
more text blocks? Okay.
Write that down.
I'm writing it down.
And also, I have a suggestion too. There are, like Jeff said, there's text box, but they have the bullet points on either side. There are times when I would just want to use just plain text without the bullet points. Is that even available? Am I missing that somewhere?
You should be able to delete them. You should be able to delete them, Wade, because I've done that
Can
before.
You?
Yeah, I think on the designs that have those, you can actually delete just that one little part on the element.
Okay, well, I missed that then. Okay.
But I also wanted to mention that today we have new layouts for Facebook and Facebook apps. So if anybody's an app developer or uses apps, but those are a whole new set of custom templates that you can remix. They're all on Pinterest. And actually, the size is good for Google+. Google+ is, I think, the friendliest of all the social networks as far as image size posting. Like, it's really forgiving. But I like to, 800 by 600, I think, is the optimal. Yay, Dustin gave you some props.
He got some mic at least. There you
go. Yeah. So 800 by 600 is the optimal Google Plus size. I think that's like perfect on Google Plus and mobile. But I use 800 by 1200, and that still is really good if you have your text in the middle. Where then you can use the same image for Google Plus and Pinterest, which is what I do.
Awesome. All right, Stephan, what's your question for Peg? Because I know you have one. You're sitting there quietly, but I know you're burning.
I'm enjoying getting the tutorials here. This is great. And no, one of the things I wanted to bring up the Facebook templates, because I saw that on Facebook today. That you posted that. It was very cool, and I'm like, I'll just talk to her about it later today. But yeah, that's fantastic, and I assume there's more coming for the other different the other networks.
You mean like Google Plus?
Maybe.
Yes, of course, Google Plus. Everybody asks me that. You guys know that's the first thing I ask them for. Come on.
Right.
So we're working on it.
I mean,
We'll we'll have Google Plus stuff. Definitely.
There's event headers. There's
Google
community
Plus
logos.
Yep. And all the YouTube assets too.
Oh yeah.
Yes, YouTube assets would be awesome.
Thumbnail templates and cover headers for It's all in the making.
So I do have another thing I wanted to just ask you, because we started originally talking about ways where you could somebody without a ton of design skills or without a ton of time could utilize a service like Canva or just created an idea for a concept for their images in general. I mean, this is half question, half point, but the thing that, well, I guess, what's your take on using templates? Like coming up with a template that sort of has a consistent look, but maybe there's a background change or maybe there's a color change or whatever, and then you mix things up. I know that's easy to do in Canva because you could just make copies of your existing, some of your existing images. But I guess from a strategic standpoint, Canva aside, what value do you have there? Do those things have? Because
I actually do that myself. I do that myself. I make templates for 12 Most. I have a template that I use, and I just change the color, the name of the post, and the image to match the header, because that blog is like really old. It's like patched together, and it has some custom coding that we can't change, so it's like we can't update the theme. And so I have to use a specific size photo for that slider on the homepage. So I can't do anything about that. So what I do is I make a nice big graphic and I pin it and I share it on Google+. So I do use templates for that. I think they're great. And plus, when you look at the Pinterest page for 12 Most, like the pins look awesome. So I really would love to go through and redo all of them because they look consistent, they look great. I think it creates, especially on Pinterest, you can make great boards from your custom pins, which you've done with your Google+ tips. I think it's great. I think templates that you create yourself for your own content are amazing. I would really recommend that. I do that for mine. I have a couple that I am like in love with, and I try not to use them. You make a couple designs that you love, and you just want to use it all the time. But for specific things like your blog or your business, I think that creating your own templates is awesome because it does save you time, and they look great.
Yeah, I know. For a good example of that is Rebecca Radice. I mean, everything that comes from her, is from her. I mean, you can just tell it's her. Even if she changes colors, you still know that it's from her, her blog or her post or whatever.
She actually doesn't change colors that much anymore. She really sticks with her blog colors, so it's mostly orange, red, and yellow. But yes, definitely. And she's a hybrid. She uses Canva, and then she'll change a few things in Photoshop because it just with her little custom template that she had already actually developed before we started using Canva. So.
Yeah, that's what I use for the mixture for the Manly Show templates and stuff. I use a mixture of Photoshop and Canva just because it's so fast. So
that's what Rebecca says too. Like it just jumpstarts everything she does, and then if there's one thing that she wants that she can't do, which is honestly that only happens with people who are proficient in Photoshop, because there's a couple things in Photoshop that they want to do, but for Mike Allton and I, who are not married to Photoshop, we're like, we don't even know that you could do that, so we don't care.
Right. Canva does a better job with text, I think, too, than Photoshop. It renders text way sharper. So you almost, and I don't know if anybody else knows this, but you could, if you have a backdrop or a like a background you're going to use, this was kind of my lead into the whole template thing. If you can find something that you like, you could upload that to Canva and save it, just in your upload section, and then just continue to use that almost as a background, and then just put the text and things like that on top because it's so much sharper. I mean, way better.
I can hear Dustin Stout typing on his computer even as we speak.
I know. Dustin in so he doesn't have an aneurysm. Hey, Dustin, we're talking about design.
Well, Dustin actually said, templates are great because it's another form of branding and consistency builds trust, which is exactly right. So
he's like typing.
And, he also said my beard was awesome, so I was going to that.
He said he wants one too, so he can be like you.
That's right. Wade, I mean, what's your question you have for Peg?
Well, it's more. It is a question and more of a comment too, but your first question had something to do with visual marketing, how everyone knows and understands that social strategy is leaning more towards visual marketing and things like that. But I kind of disagree with that. I don't think that everybody knows that it's all about visual marketing, because if they did, I believe they would spend more time on their images.
I think it's new. I think it's really new still. That's visual marketing.
What I'm trying to say is, for me, as I'm no Dustin Stout, not ringing his bell. He's an awesome designer. I've seen some of his stuff for the PYB community. Even today, it was just awesome stuff. I can't do that, and I don't really have time to learn something on Photoshop to learn how to do anything like that. So what I'm trying to do is trying to create courses, trying to create content. What would you say to people like me that maybe don't have the time? They've got to know it. This is important to do. What would you do or say to people? Do y'all have a Canva strategy, a secret strategy for people that are not seeing the importance of visual marketing?
Well, that's like two parts. First, I would find a partner who does who can do the things that you can't do, and who doesn't have the social skills and maybe the blogging skills that you have. And so work together with somebody. We always want to work with people who have opposite skills than you do. That's one of Guy and my secrets is as many things as we have that overlap with social media, we have a really different skill sets. So our partnership works together. We do, it's like divide and conquer all the time, and then sometimes work together at the same time. But I would, if you really don't have time for that, I would, number one, you could find someone that could do some templates for you that maybe wouldn't be that expensive for you, and then reuse them. And just remix them enough. Like, come up with a consistent strategy for your blog. Come up with, I would say maybe 5 templates that you could create that you could remix for every different kind of post that you have, and stick with your consistent branding, and don't recreate the wheel every time. That's the thing. I think people think they have to recreate the wheel every single time to make a great image, and I don't think that's true. I think it would bring consistency and great images. Dustin's images, let's all just talk about Dustin today. Dustin's images, they're his because he's consistent. He's got his great logo on there. He has a filter that he uses for his photos, which, by the way, you could make photos like Dustin's in Canva using the filter. So you could get a Wade Harman filter, and then every time you use different images, you just change the filter on the photo, and then you make them consistently branded even though you're using other photos. So there's a lot of shortcuts that you can use. So it's not, if design is not your favorite thing, or if design is just something that you're not good at, or you don't have time, there's shortcuts that you can take to make it work for you.
Yeah, and on that, it's not that I don't enjoy doing it. I do. I love Canva. Canva has opened up a whole new world to me in design. But you can still go on my images and see that's not my forte. You know what I mean? But it does. I'm still learning the colors and what goes with what and different things like that. But as far as making it a whole lot easier, it's freed up a lot of my time, and that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy working with Canva. I enjoyed trying to do it. But again, I'm no Dustin Stout.
Yeah, but the more you practice, you will get awesome at it, and you don't need to branch out really with colors. You only need 3. Pick 2 brand colors and an accent. Bam.
Right.
If we want to just keep talking about Dustin, use superhero colors because that's what he likes. He likes superhero colors. So you really only need 3 waves. So it's not as hard as you think. I think you are telling yourself that you're not good at it, and it's making you feel like you're not good at it. If you just
do it, Wayne, you can do it.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Well,
it's confidence.
I'm seeing his images, and then I'm like, I've got the content that I'm writing. I feel is really good, but how are people going to see that without being prompted by the social image? It's attraction, and I feel like I hit a brick wall every time I go to create something. It's just frustrating.
Stick with the templates for a little bit.
You know what I would do if I did this all over again is I would hire somebody like Dustin Stout and say, make me 4 images on Canva.
Yeah.
And then I can go in and I could go change the text and change the stuff for blog posts. But I think that designers, there could be some, embracing of it, because it could really help their clients. They could build these templates, charge them money for building the templates, and then you could go in and make the changes that you wanted to do. And so I think there's a really good opportunity there. That's just me.
And an easy way to do that is using the collaborative features on Canva, which I don't know if you've played with those yet, Jeff, where you can send someone the link and then they can make a few changes on it. So, it's just a matter of getting comfortable with it. But if you don't feel comfortable with it, I would definitely have somebody like Dustin Stout, who's in the comments right now, probably waiting for you to hire him. We'll just make Dustin be like,
yeah,
Dustin, we get like a split off of all this commission.
Yeah, I want an affiliate link for this show.
No, but seriously, like if you could just have someone do a couple for you, Wade, honestly, like 5, you could just rotate them a little bit, pick your colors. I think it's easier than you think. And anyway, the collaborative link, you can share the link with people, and like if somebody's designing for you, they can send you the link and just view it, or they can send you an editable link where you can actually change stuff on it.
Here's another question for you. What's the best way to cross promote your images? I mean, because sometimes it's hard to make you make one image for Pinterest, and then the template's not the same on the other. So what's the best way that you use to you make a post for your blog, you make an image for your blog, but you also want to put it on Pinterest, Facebook, and Twitter? What's the best way to do that?
My super secret way that I invented myself, which is not a Canva tutorial. This is just how Peg's hackathon works. I wanted to create a header for myself to match across all the social networks. So I used a stock photo, and I used it in all the different size templates that are already in there. I saved my font codes, so my fonts were the exact same color. And then I created a custom filter for myself. So I went into one template design, say I was in a Pinterest template, and I made it the way I wanted, and then I cut and paste the color code and the filter code into the other template sizes and used the same image. Bam.
Very, very cool. Everyone's rewinding it right now. Okay, what did she say? Okay.
I get that a lot. Sometimes when I go into my deep theories, people are like, what? You can do it. It's actually not that hard, but that's how I figured out how to do it. Awesome.
Last week. I did the same thing last week because I needed to make a bunch of different graphics for my book. I had the cover that my wife originally designed, but then I had to change the colors. So I ended up rebuilding it in Canva using her inspiration but different colors. And once I had that color scheme, now that's a 600 by 900 graphic. I needed to make short graphics for my blog. I needed to make square graphics for all these different things. Mm-hmm. So I had my color hex saved, and I knew that I was doing my shapes at a 57-degree angle. So when I spun them using the little Canva tool, it was always 57 degrees.
Yep.
So now the graphics are matching up. All the fonts are the same.
Awesome. Yeah. I have a tip for Wade for getting colors that you like. If you use, there's this Chrome extension called Eyedropper, and if you use Eyedropper, you can go on anything on the web, and it will give you the hex code, and you could use that hex code and go into Canva to create your colors. So what you can do with that is, if you're really unsure of matching colors, I know this is the manly show, so we'll assume that you guys can't. Oh! Yeah, just kidding.
No, well, see the lower third, the relationship head.
Yep.
I want to try to implement that logo, and if anybody's been seeing my stream, I'm trying to do more blues, and kind of. It's not that people are in the stream. I see that you're not good at it because of two things. Lee was telling me. It's not that I don't understand the tool. I can do the tool.
Yeah.
Just up here, it's the creativity side. I don't understand what colors to use with what, you know what I mean?
But, okay, so you could go monochromatic, Wade, and you could just use the blue color for your background and then change the transparency of it to give it a different shade.
That's a good idea.
Bam!
Bring
this
it
show's
on.
all about Wade now.
Yeah, it's all about Wade. So forget it. Forget it, Dustin.
A couple of the websites you use for color inspiration.
Design Seeds is my favorite. I love Design Seeds. They take a really amazing photo, and they put all the little colors with it, and then you can use your eyedropper tool and just get the hex codes. Design Seeds just makes me happy when I go there, and it's like really great color combinations. And what I do is I save those color combinations. I might not use it today, but I save it on a Pinterest board 6 months from now. I still remember I have this great color. The book club, my book club website is actually, the colors are designed from a Design Seeds color card. It's a charcoal gray and turquoise, actually much like Canva. The colors are very Canva-like. But yeah, just get inspiration from other places and grab the hex codes. That's like the easiest way to match.
That eyedropper tool is a lifesaver for me because, well, I haven't used it yet, but that's a great tip because this blue is very hard to match up with. It's I don't know what kind of blue it is. Not
anymore. It's not. You'll do the eyedropper tool once, and then cut and paste your code. Make a little document. Keep your code in there for your colors, and then create your custom filter code. Put that on there. Your life will be easy.
That is awesome.
You just want to take it a step further. I use an app called Color Steamer, and I can actually save a collection of colors. So it's got an eyedropper, the same as that Chrome extension. So I can go to Design Seeds or someplace else, and eyedrop the colors that I want, and then I save it. So like for my book, you know, I saved the
for my book, The Ultimate Guide to Hootsuite.
For my book, the guy.
Which is live on Amazon.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah.
Here's the link.
Here's my affiliate code. All right. Well, you guys have any other questions for Peg before we wrap up the show? We're right at we're a little over half hour.
I want to throw out a couple of other resources. There are sites that, instead of just color pickers, there's sites where you could. I'm looking at one right now. I was paying attention to you guys, but I was Googling. There's.
That's all right.
There's sites where you can put the name. You can put it. What?
Just kick him out.
Come on. No, but seriously, there are sites out there where you can put in a color and you can get an entire palette of hex colors. So, and you can get complementary, you can get tertiary, you can get a whole bunch of different ones and then just pick and choose which ones work well together. And also, even to the point where there's sites out there where you could drop in a website and put an entire URL in it, and it'll create a palette for you. So, you know, this is stuff web guys use a lot because we're trying to come up with, you know, there's a main link color, but then there's also like the hover link color. So, you know, you want to do it. There's like tons and tons of different colors that guys who build websites have to find, and if you want to do it right, there's different styles and things like that you got to pick out. So there's sites like that. They're not all brilliantly beautiful looking, but they do their job, right? They give you little blocks of color and they tell you what the hex colors are. So look for those out online. I'll keep looking afterwards, and I'll drop a couple links in the comments. I thought I had them bookmarked, but I don't.
Yeah. Behance is another great
site. For your links.
What's that?
You don't just use blue and red for your links?
No.
Blue links, red for hover.
Did I tell you my dad did that one time? He sent me an email with a blue underlined text and thought it was a link.
Well, let's all drop in.
Wait, did you click on it? That's what I want to know.
Did I click on it? Of course I clicked on it.
So who was the winner?
But it didn't work. Oh my God, what is this? Well, I made it a link. I'm like, no, you didn't make it a link, dude.
That was just a made you click.
Hashtag made you click.
Well, let's all drop in any resources we have because I think a lot of people are wanting a lot of the stuff, and we could be the definite hangout for all the resources for images. So we'll do that. Anyway, any last, Peg, tell us where we can find you, where your blog is at, and you know, I know we can find you on Canva, but give us where we can, where you want us to go.
Oh, geez, that leaves you so wide open there. I barely gave you a hard time, Jeff.
Yeah, I was wondering when this was coming. I thought you was going to give Jeff a hard time.
I was going to, just so everybody knows, I was really going to give Jeff a hard time, and then I didn't. Darn it. So you can find me at Peg Fitzpatrick on Google+, Twitter, Pinterest, and my blog is pegfitzpatrick.com.
Awesome. And make sure you put the link of Canva's blog in there because it's like you said, it's chock full of resources. So coming up in 2 weeks on the Manly Show, we're going to have the cooking show. We've got special guest Chef Dennis Littley going to be in the house and not in my house. That would be awkward. But he'll be here. We're going to be cooking stuff outside, inside, so it's going to be a crazy cooking show, so it should be a lot of fun. And I really thank you, Peg, for being here. It's awesome. You're awesome. You know, you've taught all of us so much, and we would love to have you back sometime. So once again, for the Manly Show, we thank you for coming, where the panel is wise, the guests are good-looking, and hopefully your host was above average. We'll see you next time, everybody.
Bye.